lyrically, to me it's something like it listens to like something an ode to everything that you are and where you come from. Is it? Can you say that?
Definitely, it's everything I've known as a child, everything I've grown up listening to, from my mom playing classic soul, from listening to 70s AM radio, where I heard everything from Jim Croce, Three Dog Night, to Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5. Also, growing up in the Bronx at the birth of hip hop, you know, I have all those influences with Grandmaster Flash, Sugar Hill Gang, and, you know, all the hip hop groups in the Bronx that started out, you know, in my neighborhood, and just being around friends and all the good times that I've had. Everything that has influenced me as a child, I think, has come to fruition on this record. Definitely.
Yeah. Because what's it? The birth of hip hop. Yeah, you were there literally.
Well,
can you say that?
Yeah, and you know the thing is that when you're there, you kind of take it for granted. You don't realize you're in a historic movement. You don't. It's just something that's happening. You know, it's the latest trends. You pick up the latest dances. You wear the latest fashion and sneakers, but you don't think that it's ever going to be part of a international cultural movement. You didn't. You know, you just kind of took it for granted, just the same way you heard salsa. You know, the Bronx is also the birth of salsa music in New York, so you take all those things for granted growing up in the Bronx, and then later as an adult, when you learn about it, the rich history that you come from, you want to honor it, and you want to keep it alive, and you want to let people know, of the younger generation, hey, this is how it was back then, you know, don't forget.
Yeah. And back then it was just the boys next door making some music.
Right. You would go down 2 steps down the block and go to a house party, or you go out in the yard and it would be, you know, beat battles and dance battles, and it was, you know, it was just regular life. Yeah.
Yeah. What is for you the first music you heard that made you yourself wanna sing or make music? You remember such thing?
Yeah, I think definitely listening to Michael Jackson and Jackson 5, definitely listening to all the classic Motown artists, Eddie Kendricks, Marvin Gaye, watching Eartha Kitt on Batman as Catwoman.
Okay.
You know, all of those cultural influences.
What's Eartha Kitt and Batman got to do with music? Yeah, because of her
Because
music.
Eartha Kitt was a wonderful singer, and she had a sex appeal, and just to see a black woman as a iconic superhero back then was a big deal. You know, we're talking about my parents who grew up in a segregated South. You know, they weren't allowed to sit in the front of the bus, and you know, in my generation, I get to see, you know, black superheroes. I get to see a Democratic national president for the first time in history. I mean, you know, this is the difference, and this is the impact that it's made on me. And because of those people, I can stand here today and, you know, do what I do, basically.
Yeah. Your parents grew up in the South, you say?
Yeah, they grew up in Norfolk, Virginia.
And why they moved? And you were born there or in New York?
No, they moved to New York as teenagers. In their youth, they went to get work in the North. And I was born in Spanish Harlem, and then we moved up to the Bronx at 2 years old, moved up to the Bronx.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, but about that time maybe, on Fija, do I pronounce it right?
Fire.
Fire, oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah, you say Mama always said I could be successfully, or
Yeah.
Stephanie, you could be successfully.
That's right.
That was how it was?
Oh, absolutely. My
she
mom
really supported.
Oh my gosh. In fact, I have a dedication to this, of this album to my mom, because if I could say if there's one person that was my #1 fan and always pushed me to the best, it was my mom. And you know, she came to every show, and everybody in the music community knew her. And you know, she was like a fixture, because she loved music, and she loves playing. She played piano, and she sang as a hobby. And she never pursued those ambitions professionally, but I think she some way lived her dreams through me, and tried to encourage me to find my natural talents. And one of my natural talents just happened to be singing. And I recently lost my mom in May, and so I wanted to dedicate this album to her, because yeah, she was definitely my #1 fan.